Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 2049. The topic is Q&A, and the title is How to Lose Belly Fat. Ooh, this is definitely going to catch some people's attention. This was a podcast listener request. They sent a message through the website. Part of what they wrote, I will read to you now. I have been listening to your podcast for the past few weeks and love the way you teach. Thank you. I appreciate that. You do follow what you say about no BS, but you still give productive ways to approach the topic you're presenting. I was searching for older podcasts using the instructions on your website about losing belly fat, but couldn't find one. I apologize if you've covered the topic before, but I was wondering if you could give advice on how to lose belly fat. I'm in relatively good shape and am lean, but can never seem to lose the fat in the lower portion of my stomach. I've tried every diet, every training program I can find on YouTube, but nothing seems to work. I was wondering how you would approach this issue with a client. Awesome question. So I really appreciate they listen to the podcast. I'm glad they like it and find it beneficial. And I'm also happy when people reach out. I really love the idea that the podcast is helpful. So I certainly hope it is in actuality. But I like it to be helpful. I like for people to feel comfortable to request topics that they want. So that way I know it's actually helpful to at least one person. But thank you for sending in the request. So I do manage this issue with clients regularly. It's happened for people wanting to get on stage. It's happened for people just wanting to look, happy and good in the way they look in regular life. It's happened for females post-pregnancy, even males after they've lost a lot of weight. The stomach can still be loose and still have kind of like fat on it. It's definitely common. It comes up quite a bit. So what we look for, the first thing I do is look at nutrition. We want to make sure that the person is eating the right amount of calories. Most often, if the calories are not in the proper range, they're typically too low. The person has been dieting, they've been over-restricting, and we have to increase their calories because their metabolism, when the calories are too low, the body adjusts by reducing its energy output in non-essential processes, such as skin health. Meaning that if you're under eating, your body will reduce the amount of energy and effort it puts into maintaining and repairing and kind of turnover of skin cells. So you can actually slow down the skin tightening process by being in too severe of a caloric deficit. So that's the first thing we look at. Typically, calories are going to be somewhere around body weight times 13. That's just a big general ballpark. If somebody's way under that, say body weight times 10 or less, then we're going to walk it up slowly. I would never take somebody from, say, 1,600 calories automatically up to 2,000 calories. It's too big of a jump. We would work our way up there. But that's essentially the amount of calories we're going to be looking for. If you go to our website, www.brutalirongym.com, we do have some free information on the website. If you go to the website, you're going to see one of the pages is nutrition education. You can click on that, and the first link on that page is titled Create Your Own Nutrition Program. And it has a podcast you can listen to, then a summary of steps and estimations for where your calories, your protein, and some other elements should be. So if you want to learn more about that, get more of the specifics, you can go to the website, go to Nutrition Education, click on that link, and there's all the info. When we look at protein, we want to make sure we're consuming enough protein. Protein converts over towards skin health. It is used in various ways to promote skin health. There's like collagen protein, but then there's skin elasticity. There's impacts that protein has. So you want to make sure you have enough protein. The other component is, and I'll get into the training here in a second, we typically are going to focus on muscle building, like weight training type of training. Don't worry, you won't get jacked. You're not going to get bulky. It doesn't happen that fast. If you have a fear of lifting weights and you're afraid that you're going to get bulky, well, I do have a podcast I would suggest you listen to that I did with my wife. my wife Meredith. We did podcast number 591, which was a training podcast titled I Don't Want to Get Too Bulky. So Meredith shares a female's perspective of that statement and how you can kind of debunk that fear a little bit. Muscle growth happens very slowly, especially for females. You will not just get too bulky. If you've experienced in the past that you started lifting weights and you did actually thicken up, your calories may have not been correct. Maybe the structure of the programming wasn't correct for your goals. There could have been some hormonal issues. There are definitely some reasons why you would have experienced that. So if we do the rest of what I'm going to talk about, having everything kind of in the right place, and then you do weight training, it's not going to create a significant instant, muscle growth that you're going to wake up one day and be like, holy crap, my thighs are too massive, my shoulders are too massive. It will happen in a nice slow state, but the benefit of the muscle growth is that it tightens the skin by building what's underneath the skin. And again, you're not going to get too bulky, so don't worry about that. It's a reasonable worry. I don't mean, to discount the fear, but you don't have to worry that it's actually going to happen. So podcast 591, if you want to find a podcast that old, because that's quite a few podcasts ago, you can go to our website, www.brutalirongym.com, go to the homepage. If you scroll down on the homepage, you can see a podcast player that goes back 300 episodes, and then underneath that are instructions on how to find older podcasts by using keywords. So you want to search for the podcast. Just search for the term bulky, and you'll see it's podcast 591, or you can literally search for the number 591, and you'll find that podcast. So when we think about protein, we want to be consuming, in general, the general range is going to be somewhere between 0.6 to 1.2 grams of protein. Anything above 0.8 is typically going to be people who are weight training pretty intensely. So if you're not consuming at least 0.6 grams per pound of body weight in protein now, just start where you are now and slowly work your way up. But you do want to get within that range so that way you have enough protein for skin health and muscle building and all the positive benefits that protein provides. The next thing we look for is to make sure our sugar intake is low. I typically want people to be under 60 grams per day. If you're way over that, just work your way down to it. So if you kind of track a couple numbers, a couple days, and you're like, holy crap, I'm consuming, over 100 grams of sugar a day. Well, see if you can get it under 100 for a week or two. See if you can get it under 90, then under 80, then under 70, then under 60. So work your way to it, because if you take your time and do it as a step-by-step process, you'll be developing the life habits, the life skills to keep that in place. If you just try to jump to these numbers right away, sometimes your metabolism isn't ready for that, so you're not going to have a great experience, and you're not going to be able to sustain those behaviors. So when I work with clients, we take all these things by steps. The fourth element we look for nutrition-wise is meal timing. If people eat at a very sporadic time every day, so some days they have breakfast, some days they don't. Sometimes they have lunch, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have dinner, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they eat late at night, sometimes they don't. So if you just kind of eat randomly, you're going to retain more water. And when we retain more water, we tend to retain that around our midsection. So one of the ways to reduce water retention is to normalize our meal timing, try to make that more consistent. And that is going to help reduce water retention, which then increases the tightness appearance of the midsection. And again, that free document on the website will teach you more about meal timing. Then we look at hydration. We want to be consuming at least half our body weight in ounces of fluid a day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you want 75 ounces of fluid, but more than that is definitely going to help. So typically the range is 0.5 to 1 ounce per pound of body weight. So you can kind of use that as a guide, and again, work your way up there if you're underneath that. And then sodium, if you don't have any sodium response-related blood pressure issues. So if you don't have that, you don't have a medical condition with that, sodium can actually be pretty variant, and it can be higher than the FDA recommendations, especially in athletes or people who lift weights aggressively. You're going to kind of use more sodium, therefore you're going to need more sodium. But the main thing we want to do with sodium is just make it more consistent day to day. So if you find that you consume between, say, 2,000 to 2,400 milligrams a day, awesome. Just try to keep that in a regular little window. If you consume 3,000 to 3,500, but your blood pressure is okay, you feel good, great. Just try to keep that in a normal amount. One of the populations that are most sensitive to sodium fluctuations that I work with are anorexics. And people suffering from anorexia and bulimia, they're going to be very, very, very sensitive to body weight fluctuations in regard to water retention. One of the first things we do is normalize their sodium intake, so that way their genes don't feel just a little slight on one, like slightly tighter on one day, which can spark negative behaviors. So we really normalize, we very much control sodium intake, so that way they don't have that small daily fluctuation in how their clothes feel. So that way they can maintain healthy habits and not get into a negative mindset. So those are the things we look at nutrition-wise: calories, protein, sugar, meal timing, hydration, and sodium. When we do training, we want a mixture of weight training and cardio. I do prioritize weight training higher than cardio because it provides more benefits. One of the things we said was that weight training can help increase muscle mass. Again, listen to podcast 591 if you're afraid of getting too much muscle too quickly. The main benefit is it really helps to, again, build what's under the skin to create a tightness look. One of the populations that struggles with this concept the most is women who want to lose body fat in their lower body, but they still want a nice, like, kind of bubble butt, like a rounded glutes. If they don't lift weights, there's no rounded glutes under there. There's no muscle under there. It's just all fat. So as they lose fat, their glutes and their butt becomes very flat, and they don't like that look. So then they're like, well, damn, do I just have a fat butt or do I have a flat butt? And the answer is neither. You can just build muscle and have a nice rounded appearance, but you do have to do weight training to build that muscle to have that rounded appearance. The other benefit of weight training is a reduction of body fat. Now, cardio can do that for sure as well, but if we lose body fat, that again can help increase the tightness or the firmness look of the skin. Then we look at skin health. The way that weight training can improve skin health is it enhances blood circulation. When you enhance circulation, you're going to ensure that more oxygen, more nutrients are delivered to the skin, and that promotes healthy skin regeneration and repair. Weight training also can stimulate collagen production. Collagen is a protein that provides structure and elasticity to the skin. The better our collagen production and protein levels are, the more firm our skin appears. Overall, weight training can improve skin elasticity as well because it increases the production of certain hormones and growth factors that contribute to healthy skin and elasticity. It also helps with detoxification of the skin by sweating out toxins from the body, and that can improve skin clarity and texture. So that's helpful as well. And then we also look at the hormone impact of weight training. It provides or promotes healthy, happy hormonal balance. So part of that is cortisol, insulin, and things that would have an impact on skin health. That when the hormones are improper, you would have inflammation, you have acne, you have a lot of skin issues. So we want to balance the hormones with weight training. Really helps to do that. Weight training helps with stress reduction. That reduces overall cortisol, overall stress, and that can reduce water retention. That can also allow the skin to appear healthier. A lot of people suffer from eczema or skin rash, skin conditions when they're highly stressed. So exercise helps reduce stress, therefore it improves skin health. So there you go. So we talked about nutrition, we talked about training and how we do want to include weight training. The other thing we look at is supplements. I do not know the effectiveness of any supplement I'm about to say, separate from being included in conjunction with nutrition and training. Meaning, I've never worked with anyone where they only took the supplements, but they weren't doing the nutrition and training as well. Everyone has done the nutrition and training, and then we just added supplements on because if they had the financial ability to do so, why the hell would you not? They want to kind of try everything they can try. So we do add, we've added collagen, protein. There are some people that believe collagen protein is worthless because as your body breaks it down to individual protein units, and then it can build it back up into collagen maybe, or builds it back up into more like muscle-focused proteins. But you know what? If somebody wants to take collagen protein and they believe it's going to help, the belief and how that makes them feel more positive about what we're doing, that reduces one stress component that, what if I was taking it? Is that going to get me better? So what if I'm not? Just helps. So just take it if you can afford it. Vitamin C. That's helpful for collagen synthesis, so therefore it can help skin health. Hyaluronic acid, I can't say that correctly. Hyaluronic acid, I know this through my wife. She takes this for skin moisture and elasticity, but it can actually very much help the appearance of loose skin. Omega-3 fatty acids are great, commonly in like fish supplements, like fish oil supplements. That helps towards skin elasticity and hydration. They also have anti-inflammatory properties, which can benefit overall skin health. Any kind of antioxidants, coenzyme Q10 would be one. Vitamin E, green tea extract. Sometimes people will say that for addressing like oxidative stress, and that can help, improving the antioxidants, like taking any stuff like that. Again, to what degree does this help? I have no clue, but we take it if we can afford it. And then biotin, which is vitamin B7, helps support skin health, hair, skin, nails. There's a hair, skin, nail supplement that I often give to pregnancy or post-pregnancy clients, and they all love it because they say their skin feels so much softer, their hair feels better. So we do use biotin type supplements and have seen benefits for sure. So there's a long list of nutrition elements, training elements, and supplements. And then what I've seen with clients over the years has been pretty much everything under the sun. I'll have clients who have that little pooch under their belly, and it's just they haven't been eating consistently, they haven't been eating enough, they haven't been weight training consistently, so we get them on a healthy routine, and within a few months the skin really tightens down, and that's very common. I've also had people have had skin folds where they have a skin fold in their belly from losing fat too quickly, and when you rub the layers of skin together, it's smooth. That means there's no fat inside there. That's going to be very, very hard to get rid of. And one way would be people have surgery, but that's kind of rough. It doesn't have the aesthetic look that people think it's going to have. So I've actually helped people get rid of skin folds, and this is going to sound scary as hell, but every single person who's done it, we have a 100% success rate, is we have to gain a little bit of fat back. We have to gain a little bit of fat in order to get some granules of fat, to get some fat within the skin fold, improve overall metabolism, improve our body's self-care towards skin. Basically, we just have to feed them because they've been in such a ridiculous deficit for so long, their overall health is trash. So the body is not repairing skin, it's not doing anything with the skin. So getting them to eat healthier, actually getting them to gain a little bit of weight back is very helpful. And then we take it off in the right way, a slower, more sustainable timeline. And then all of a sudden we get rid of the skin folds and they never needed surgery. So I've done that many times. So definitely seen everything under the sun. And all of these tactics have worked and have had significant impact. And in 99.9% of cases, we've been able to address the issue with just this alone. Now, I have had clients who've used special treatments. A couple clients have used Kybella. I do not know. I'm saying it because I've experienced clients experiencing it, but I don't know anything about it. And in no way whatsoever is me saying it a recommendation that you should do it. But if you want to know what people do, one of the things people use is Kybella. I think it was used initially to help get rid of like a little bit of the dumbbell chin, that little bit of like extra saggy part under your chin. Women found, and probably men too, but anyone looking for aesthetics to get rid of a double chin, they would have injected Kybella, and I believe it's Kybella, Kybella. And they would inject that there, and there would be a fat reduction, spot reduction, like literally you lose fat just there. So Kybella is something that people will also get in their lower stomach. And that can help reduce body fat literally just in that area. And then obviously there's liposuction, and various names of all that stuff. I believe like maybe a tummy tuck, whatever that stuff is called. I think tummy tuck though is like a skin, like you actually cut the skin. I'm not a big fan of cutting the skin. It's essentially, this is going to sound weird, and I apologize if anybody's had this surgery. I hope it turned out really well for you. But to me, like what I've seen with clients is it's like trying to sew together two plastic bags from the grocery store. There's going to be this looseness, there's going to be this wrinkling effect above and below the scar. So you do remove an amount of skin, but the skin that's left is pulled taut, but it doesn't have the same visual effect as like a healthy, just tight and firm skin. So I would, if I had to recommend anything, I would do something that tries to leave the amount of skin you have, but reduce the fat that's underneath. And then skin tightens over time. Podcast 538. It's an older podcast, but it's a nutrition podcast, and it's titled Skin Tightening Post Diet. Commonly, you're going to see skin continue to tighten, assuming nutrition is correct, assuming the person still weight trains and they stay hydrated. But if somebody diets for 6 months, it's not uncommon to see at least an extra half of that amount of time, an extra 3 months, where the skin would continue to tighten. I did a major diet. I forget which year it was, maybe 2013, 14, somewhere in there. I went from 270 pounds down to 207. I tried this diet, and it was a kind of a fun example. I tried a high-protein diet, tried carb manipulations. I did a whole bunch of stuff along this diet. It was 10 months, and I was experimenting with several dieting components. And I ended up going from 270 down to 207. So that's 63 pounds in 10 months. That's 6.3 pounds per month, for doing the math correctly. So it's like 1.5 pounds a week for 10 months straight. That's a lot of weight loss. What I saw was my skin continued to tighten in appearance for 5 months after that diet. So I believe I ended the diet in November, and I remember seeing in photos and feeling in like my, just the way I felt, like still in January, February, March, I was still feeling like I was looking leaner, and there was still this visual improvement even though my weight was staying the same. So skin takes time. It takes time to tighten. And what I've found with clients is, if I had to, give it some numbers, give it some parameters, is it tightens to equivalent about 1 pound per week. So if you lose 20 pounds, it's about 20 weeks by the time the skin will fully tighten. So if you do a very fast diet and you lose, say, 30 pounds in 60 days, that's very fast. You're going to feel like your skin is very loose. Don't freak out right away. Don't get surgery. Don't do anything too crazy. Just get on healthy nutrition, weight training, get on some good supplements, and give your body more time. You will likely find that the skin will continue to tighten over time. So I would really encourage people, if you've done a diet for X amount of time, give at least 50% of that time to regain normal skin health, normal body health, before you freak out and get any procedures done or anything crazy. So that is what I have seen with clients, and it's worked out really, really well. I hope that this was helpful. I hope it gave you some good information to get started with. And so to the listener who requested this, I hope this was everything you wanted. If you have any follow-up questions, if you need anything, shoot me an email. You can contact me on our website, www.brutalirongym.com. Go to the bottom of the homepage, and there's a contact form there. So you can send me any message you want at any time, and I will respond. I respond to everybody within 2 weeks that I'm aware of. So if you didn't hear back from me from 2 weeks, I probably missed your email. I apologize. So send it again. But I respond to everybody within 2 weeks. So if you need anything, let me know. Awesome. Well, if you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people we share it with, the more people we can help. Also, if you like the podcast, please consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. And if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.